This next video is student injury. And I have stopped this service and I've explained to my lovely client that I'll be right back, that I just have a little cut on my hand that needs to be addressed. And so I have gone to the sink where the first aid station is to wash my hands and wash the injury. So I'm taking my liquid hand soap and wet my hands, and I'm going to wash my hands. Sanitizer. So I'm here at my first aid station sink, and so I'm getting some single-use items that I'm going to need. I'm getting a Band-Aid, and I'm also getting some antibiotic ointment. I'm going to pretend like this is single-use antibiotic ointment, and I'm going to apply a little bit. Actually, I don't need that to myself because I'm going to toss this, right? Tossing it. It's on my hand. And so that was a single-use antibiotic ointment that I'm tossing right now. Just don't have any of that for my video. So single-use Band-Aid, clearly. So I have stopped the bleeding, I've washed my hand, I've covered up my injury, and before I go anywhere at all, because the injury is on my hand, I'm going to be putting protective gloves on, but I would anyway because I'm going to get, doesn't matter where my injury was, I'm going to go get my soiled implements, and so I need to make sure that I have gloves on. And all I did was take the brow trimming scissors accidentally. They're really sharp. When I was putting them down, a little tiny nick on my hand. Not a big deal, but we're going to dress it. So we've got our soiled implements, and we're going to go over to the sink from our client's area, and we're going to wash them. The first thing that we have to do here is find a cleanser, and we're going to start with the cleanser, and we're going to read the back for the manufacturer's instructions on exactly how to do the first step of this disinfection. So we are going to do that first. want to make sure everything's good and dry, because when we go into the next step, we don't want to dilute any of it, so I'm taking a minute here to make sure that's true. Okay, so we've done the first step, and the next step in that disinfection process is we have to find another cleanser that is bactericidal, fungicidal, virucidal. So we're, for all purposes, using Barbicide for the next step, and this is a formula that we know 32 ounces of water gets 2 ounces of Barbicide. For me, I only need 16 ounces of water to submerge my implements, so I'm only going to need 1 ounce of the Barbicide. I do have my gloves on, but it's important that we take the next step, so I'm going to be putting on protective goggles. So I've got double here. And then we are going to start by measuring out our water for our implements. So I need 16 ounces of water, so I'm going to do that first. And then to that, we're going to add the 1 ounce of Barbicide. So I have a 1/4 cup measure, which is actually 2 ounces. So we're going to need half that, 1 ounce, or 1/8 of a cup. Whatever kind of measuring you have, and you always want to take the time to make sure that it's anti-rust and that you've looked on the back and you found the EPA number, which just verifies that it's actually an authentic product. And it will do what it says it's going to do. So we're going to measure that out. And then we pour it directly into our water over our implements, and you do not have to stir it. Put your lid back on. And then you're going to make sure you put your lid on your implement. So you want to close it up in here, give a good seal. And then this requires at least sitting for 10 minutes. I set the 10-minute timer. That's the instructions. So we would set the timer right now and leave it for 10 minutes. But we're doing a video, so we're not going to set the 10-minute timer and leave it. We're going to just go ahead and move forward to the next step, which is then pour off the disinfectant and then thoroughly rinse with hot water. So we're going to go ahead and just jump forward to that. Applying that hot water, pouring out the Barbicide, and then thoroughly rinsing implements and everything used with hot water. Once again, this needs to be thoroughly dry because we're going to store them. So take a minute, make sure everything's dry. And then everything's dry, so we are going to close it up, seal it. You want to make sure that you store it in a nice dry place away from anything else that would be soiled or potentially could compromise this. So we're going to place that out of the way. And then we still have our gear on, and it's important that we go to our client's area and sanitize that or disinfect that as well. So we're going to take some barbicide wipes here, 2 of them, and we're going to do that. We're going to go to our client area and make sure that we clean it up. So our client station is right over here. So as you can see, my trash is right now. I'm just gonna move that a little bit so I can get to my client station. You guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna do wipe number 1, and I'm gonna be really, really specific and do an excellent job for Miss Sue here. Don't want to put her in any kind of harm's way. One is going in the trash, 1 is going in the trash, number 2 is right here. And we're gonna repeat that step. Taking really good care to do it. And number 2 goes into the trash. Then at this point, your station is done. You can remove the gloves and goggles, and these are the ones that you use to do your disinfection. So you want to get rid of them, and you want to throw them in the trash. And you can remove your goggles. And what's going to happen next is we're going to wash hands, being careful not to wet the injured area. The good news is this is one of those awesome like waterproof Band-Aids, etc. So I'm just going to wash my hands thoroughly. Trying to avoid that area so that I don't open it back up. So I've got my liquid hand soap, and we're going to wash. Hand sanitizer. And you need to make sure that you get good and dry, because my injury's on my hand. Wouldn't matter anyway. You got to put your gloves back on. Because it's on the hand, if you had like a finger injury or something, you could do a finger caught. That glove is wet. These gloves are wet because I'm washing right here, so I'm gonna try to find a dry pair so I don't have to take forever to try to put them on. And once you're gloved up and ready to go, you can go back to your service and finish it out. So that's student injury video.